Okay, let's get into this. You know that feeling, don't you? Sometimes during your period, you're using a tampon and it just suddenly feels, I don't know, wrong.
Yeah, uncomfortable.
Right, maybe it's actual discomfort or like an itch just pops up or there's a weird smell or just, yeah, that feeling that things aren't quite right down there. Start wondering, why does this tampon suddenly feel so weird? Or what's with the irritation? Why does the smell change sometimes?
It happens to so many people.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to just blame the tampon.
Yeah, totally.
But the sources we've been looking at suggest these tampon mishaps, they often point to something, well, deeper, something connected to your body's own natural defense system.
Ah, okay. Like a warning light.
Sort of, yeah. It's about the vaginal flora.
The vaginal flora, right. So our mission here is to unpack the source material on this. What is vaginal flora, really? How can tampons mess with it? What are the signs that things are maybe out of balance? And crucially, how can supporting this internal environment lead to a better period experience, more comfortable, more confident?
Exactly. Let's dive into what the sources say.
Okay, so first up, vaginal flora. What is it? Why should we care? It sounds a bit clinical.
Yeah, it does, but think of it less like a lab and more like a really complex little neighborhood, a microscopic community. The sources call it a finely tuned ecosystem, mostly bacteria living in the vagina. And it's not just any bacteria, there's a specific balance.
An ecosystem. Got it. So who are the good neighbors in this community?
The main good guys, according to the material, are different types of lactobacillus bacteria.
Lactobacillus,
Yeah.
like in yogurt. What are they doing there?
They're crucial, absolutely vital for keeping things healthy down there. These lactobacilli, they work to maintain a really low acidic vaginal pH.
The pH, so acidic.
Yeah, typically between 3.8 and 4.5. They produce lactic acid and often hydrogen peroxide too. And this acidic environment makes it really hard for harmful microbes, the bad guys, to thrive.
Ah, so they're like bouncers at the club, been trouble out.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, they're your body's first line of defense against infections. But this balance is delicate. It can get thrown off.
How? What throws it off?
Well, the sources list quite a few things. Antibiotics are a big one. Hormonal birth control can have an effect, stress, diet, even the type of underwear you wear. And relevant to our chat, tampon use itself.
Okay. And when that balance gets disrupted, when the good lactobacillus numbers drop or change, what happens then?
That's when you run into the problems the sources describe. The pH goes up, it becomes less acidic, and that allows harmful bacteria or yeast to multiply.
Leading to?
Things like bacterial vaginosis or BV that often comes with that distinct fishy smell and unusual discharge. Or yeast infections. The sources even mention it can potentially increase the risk of serious issues like toxic shock syndrome, TSS.
Wow. And this ties right back to the tampon discomfort stuff, doesn't it?
Directly. That imbalance can show up as just general discomfort, maybe some swelling or itchiness, especially when you've got a tampon in. Or you might notice weird discharge or odor just during your period. Sometimes it even feels like the tampon won't sit right, like it's being pushed out or something. Tampon pushback, they call it.
So the main idea from the sources is those annoying tampon issues. They're often not just about the tampon. They're a flag, a sign that your underlying vaginal microbiome might need some support.
That's the core takeaway, yes.
Yeah.
The tampon can sort of reveal an existing weakness in your flora.
Okay, that clicks. So let's dig into how tampons can actually cause this disruption. The sources break it down.
Right. So one big factor is absorption. Tampons are designed to absorb, obviously. Blood, yes, but they also soak up the natural vaginal fluids that keep things lubricated and healthy.
Ah, okay.
This can lead to dryness. And on a microscopic level, tiny little tears or scrapes in the vaginal lining microabrasions.
Ouch. And those make it easier for bad stuff.
Exactly. They can be entry points for harmful bacteria. It weakens the defenses.
What about the tampons themselves, what they're made of?
That definitely matters according to the sources. A lot of conventional tampons use synthetic materials, like rayon. Some have fragrances added, or they're whitened using processes involving bleach derivative. And these chemicals and synthetic materials can be irritating for sensitive vaginal tissue. They can directly interfere with the good bacteria.
So it's not just about absorption, it's the ingredients, too. What about periods themselves? Doesn't blood change things?
It does. Menstrual blood naturally has a higher pH than the usual acidic vaginal environment. So during your period, the vaginal pH temporarily goes up anyway.
Okay.
Now, if your flora is healthy and strong, it can usually handle this shift and bounce back quickly after your period ends.
But if it's already struggling?
Exactly. If your flora is weak, That higher pH environment, combined with menstrual blood being held against the vaginal walls by a tampon for hours,
Mm-hmm.
well, it creates the perfect conditions for unwanted bacteria or yeast to really take off.
Makes sense. The blood, the tampon holding it there, and a weak flora. It's a bad combo.
It's a critical interaction.
Yeah.
And the courses also bring up something called bacterial biofilms.
Biofilms. Sounds science-y, like pond stem.
Kind of, it's a similar idea. Biofilms are these sticky, protective layers that communities of bacteria can build. They stick to surfaces.
Okay.
If you already have certain infection-causing bacteria present, like Gardnerella vaginalis, which is linked to BV, the material suggests tampons can sometimes provide a surface, a sort of scaffold, for these bacteria to build these really stubborn biofilms.
So the tampon helps them build a little fortress.
In a way, yes. It can make infections harder to get rid of or more likely to keep coming back.
Wow. Okay. So tampons can kind of provide a home base for bad bacteria.
It's another potential factor, especially with recurring issues.
This all leads to recognizing the signs, right? The sources say your body might be sending signals before a big tampon issue happens. What should you be looking out for?
Yeah, there are definitely clues. Things like getting frequent UTIs or yeast infections, even when you don't have your period.
Okay.
Unusual discharge is a big one if it's different from your normal pattern. The sources mention descriptions like gray, yellowish, or maybe thick, clumpy white, like cottage cheese.
Right.
Odor is key too, especially that fishy or maybe sour smell.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's more noticeable after sex.
That classic BV indicator.
Yes. Also, just general vaginal itching, irritation, or unusual dryness, even between periods.
Uh-huh.
And then tying it back to tampons specifically, sensitivity or pain
Yeah.
when you insert or wear them, or if they just consistently feel off
Yeah.
or seem harder to put in than they should be.
It really sounds like your body is trying to tell you something. Like, hey, over here, need some help.
That's exactly it. These signs often mean your flora is struggling. It needs backup to do its protective job properly.
Which brings us to the idea the sources introduce. Vaginal probiotics. We hear about probiotics for the gut all the time, but how are these different? Why vaginal ones specifically?
Good question. Vaginal probiotics are different because they are specifically formulated with strains of bacteria known to thrive in the vagina.
Ah, targeted troops.
Right. The goal is to directly replenish or boost those beneficial lactobacillus strains we talked about, the ones that keep the pH low and fight off invaders.
So you're sending in reinforcements for the good guys.
Precisely. By helping maintain that healthy acidic environment, they make it way harder for the problematic bacteria or yeast to gain a foothold and cause issues like irritation or infections. It's about proactively supporting your natural defenses.
Okay, and the material you shared goes into detail about one specific product, Balance Complex. What do the sources say sets this one apart?
Well, the sources discuss Balance Complex as an example of this targeted approach. It's positioned as a daily supplement designed to support flora health consistently, not just, when there's a problem.
Gotcha. What are the key features mentioned?
They highlight its blend of probiotic strains, particularly mentioning a high concentration. They use the term CFU, colony-forming units, which measures the live bacteria. It apparently includes several clinically researched lactobacillus strains.
Like which ones?
They list Lactobacillus acidophilus, known for helping with pH and yeast prevention. Also L. rhamnosus and L. reuteri, which the sources say have studies behind them for reducing recurring BV, and L. plantarum for maintaining the vaginal lining. Plus Bacillus coagulans, noted for surviving stomach acid to reach where it needs to go.
So specific bacteria chosen for specific vaginal health tasks.
That seems to be the rationale presented. And the sources also point out it's not just probiotics. It's combined with other ingredients, botanicals, enzymes.
Like what kind of things?
Well, they mentioned cranberry and D-mannose. Those are often linked to urinary tract health, helping stop bacteria like E. coli from sticking.
Right, UTI prevention stuff.
Yeah, and since urinary and vaginal health are so closely connected, it makes sense. They also list some natural antimicrobial and antifungal ingredients, oregano leaf extract and caprylic acid, intended to help keep yeast or bad bacteria in check.
Natural helpers for balance.
And then enzymes, protease, and cellulase. The sources suggest these can help break down those stubborn bacterial biofilms we talked about earlier.
Tackling the sticky fortresses.
Seems to be the idea. Plus, soothing things like aloe vera and prebiotics like arabinogalactin to help feed the good bacteria.
Quite a mix. Anything else?
Yeah, a few more traditional ingredients are listed. Anise seed, black walnut hulls, wormwood mentioned for historical use against inflammation and imbalances, and lastly, reishi mushroom, which is described as an adaptogen for immune support and stress resilience.
Stress resilience. That's interesting, connecting stress to vaginal health.
Well, stress impacts everything, including immune function and hormonal balance, which definitely affects the vaginal environment. So the formula described seems quite broad.
It sounds like, based on the sources, the approach is trying to cover multiple bases: probiotics, UTI support, biofilm disruption, soothing ingredients, even stress.
That's the picture the sources paint. They also make some specific claims about the product itself.
Like what?
They position it as the original vaginal probiotic, mentioning it's been around for over 10 years with millions of capsules sold. They emphasize the high CFU count and the inclusion of cranberry and D-mannose as key features.
Okay.
The sources also cite a large number of 5-star reviews on Amazon and mention it's non-GMO, made in a GMP-certified FDA-registered lab. And there's a money-back guarantee mentioned, covered by Amazon's policy.
Okay, so the sources present it as a well-established, comprehensive option with positive user feedback and quality assurances. But there's always a but, right? The material had that real talk section. Probiotics aren't magic.
Definitely not magic. The sources are really clear on this.
Yeah.
While a product like Balance Complex can be a powerful tool, it's just one part of the equation. If you're getting frequent irritation or infections around your period, it's a sign your flora needs consistent, ongoing support. Vaginal probiotics work best as part of a regular lifestyle approach for prevention and keeping things balanced, not just a quick fix when something flares up.
So consistency is key,
Yeah,
and combining it with other healthy habits.
absolutely. The sources strongly suggest pairing probiotics with smart period hygiene and general wellness practices for the best results. They list several practical tips.
Like what? Give us the highlights.
Okay, first, choose organic, unscented tampons if you use them. This minimizes exposure to potential irritants like rayon, fragrances, or bleach residues.
Makes sense. Less chemicals.
Change tampons regularly, the sources say, every 4 to 6 hours. Don't leave them in longer, as that lets blood stagnate.
Got it. Don't push the limits.
Consider alternating tampons with pads or period underwear. This gives your vaginal tissues a break and allows for better airflow.
Good idea. Mix it up.
And this one's crucial. Avoid douching or using harsh vaginal washes or sprays. They can strip away the good lactobacillus along with the bad stuff, which just makes you more vulnerable.
So you're wiping out your own defense team. Not helpful.
Exactly. They also connect gut health to vaginal health, recommending a balanced, gut-friendly diet. And of course, taking a daily probiotic specifically designed for vaginal health, like the kind of formula they discuss.
It really sounds like it's about creating an overall supportive environment, inside and out.
It is. The sources really shift the focus. Instead of just thinking about the external product, the tampon, the key to comfort and confidence during your period is looking after your internal balance, your microbiome.
And when that flora is balanced and happy, what's the payoff? What does that feel like according to the sources?
They paint a picture of a really noticeable difference. Tampons just feel comfortable, easy to insert, no issues. You feel naturally fresh down there, no need for masking fragrances. Infections or irritation become rare events, not monthly struggles. Discharge stays clear and healthy looking. And all of that adds up to just feeling more confident and less anxious about your period.
So it's moving away from feeling like your body is the problem or the tampon is the enemy.
Exactly. And towards supporting your body's incredible built-in systems. The sources frame it as period empowerment starting from within by nurturing your microbiome.
That's a powerful shift. Now, for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, this makes sense, but how do I know what my specific situation is? The sources mentioned a tool for that.
Yes, they did. They pointed to vaginalquiz.com. That's vaginalquiz.com.
Okay, vaginalquiz.com. What is it?
It's described as a quick, science-backed online quiz. It's designed to give you a personalized look at your own vaginal health profile.
How does it work?
The sources say you answer some questions about your symptoms, your lifestyle, stuff like that. And in under 2 minutes, it gives you a custom analysis. It points out potential imbalances based on your answers.
So it helps you connect the dots for your own body.
Yeah, and importantly, it doesn't just diagnose. It offers expert-backed suggestions tailored to you, your symptoms, your habits.
Practical advice.
Right. The sources highlight that it's fast, it's free, it's private. It aims to give real answers without awkward doctor visits for every little thing or getting lost down confusing internet rabbit holes.
Sounds like a good starting point for taking control, understanding what your body might need.
It's presented as exactly that, a tool to help you understand and take proactive steps for your intimate health.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, This deep dive into the sources really highlights that those common, super frustrating period issues, the discomfort, the odor, the irritation with tampons, often trace back to the health of your vaginal flora.
Yeah, that balance is fundamental. A balanced vagina is powerful. It's the foundation for comfort.
And while we can't just stop our periods,
No, unfortunately not.
we can support the systems that keep things healthy down there. Supporting the flora is key.
Absolutely. The sources have this great final thought. Let your flora do the work.
I like that.
It's about trusting your body's natural defenses and giving them the support they need, working from the inside out.
So the real takeaway seems to be taking control of your feminine health, feeling confident during your period. It really starts with understanding and nurturing that crucial internal balance.
That's the message. Focus inside, support your flora, and let it handle the rest.